The rain came down like it was trying to erase the world. It soaked through skin and bone, turned the dirt to mud, and blurred the line between right and wrong. She could barely feel her arms anymore, but she refused to let go of him. If she stopped, even for a second, they would catch up. And this time, there would be no running. Before we go any further, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the power of one brave heart to change everything, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that even in the darkest storms, light can break through. Her name was Elena Cruz, and until 6 months ago, her life had been ordinary. She worked as a paramedic in a small coastal town, the kind of place where everyone knew each other and secrets had short lifespans. She believed in doing the right thing. She believed in saving lives. That belief was the reason she was now running through the woods in the middle of a storm, half carrying a bleeding man in a soaked police uniform. Officer Daniel Harper had made a choice too. He had stumbled upon something he wasn't supposed to see. An exchange behind an abandoned warehouse involving powerful men who controlled more than just the town's businesses. When he realized how deep the corruption went, he did what Elena would have done. He documented it. He prepared to report it. And then they came for him. They cornered him on a lonely stretch of road. His cruiser was forced off into a ditch. He had managed to escape on foot, injured and disoriented, until he collapsed near the edge of the woods behind Elena's small rented cabin. She found him by accident while taking out the trash. Training kicked in before fear did. She dragged him inside, cleaned the blood from his face, stitched what she could, and listened as he whispered fragments of the truth between shallow breaths. They knew he was alive. And they would assume she was involved. By the time headlights appeared at the end of the dirt road leading to her cabin, she had already made the decision. She packed a small bag, wrapped Daniel's arm over her shoulder, and slipped out the back into the trees. The rain started as if summoned to hide them. Branches clawed at her face. Her boots sank into mud. Daniel's weight felt impossible, but every time he groaned in pain, she tightened her grip. She wasn't just carrying a man, she was carrying evidence, the fragile thread of justice that might save others. Fear pressed against her ribs, but beneath it was something stronger, a refusal to let evil win without a fight. They had been running for nearly an hour when she saw it, a faint, warm glow cutting through the rain. A cabin stood at the edge of a clearing, sturdy and quiet, smoke curling faintly from a chimney. It looked almost unreal, like something imagined in desperation. She didn't know that the men inside had his own ghosts. Marcus Hale had once been a Navy SEAL. Years of training had carved discipline into his bones and left scars both visible and hidden. After his final deployment, he returned home with medals in a box and silence in his chest. The world felt louder and emptier at the same time. He had retreated to the woods with only one constant companion, Rex, a retired military working dog who had served beside him overseas. Rex was more than a dog. He was a bridge to the past and an anchor in the present. The German Shepherd's alert eyes missed nothing, and that night, they caught the scent of fear long before Elena reached the porch. Marcus opened the door with controlled caution, the yellow light from inside spilling into the storm. He took in the scene in a heartbeat, a soaked woman trembling with exhaustion, a wounded officer barely conscious, and the distant echo of engines somewhere beyond the trees. He had left conflict behind, but conflict had found him anyway. For a long second, the world held its breath. Marcus could have shut the door. He could have told himself it wasn't his fight. But he saw the desperation in Elena's eyes, the same desperation he had seen in civilians caught between violence and hope. He stepped aside. Inside, the cabin smelled of wood and coffee. Marcus worked quickly, his movements precise. He assessed Daniel's injuries with the calm efficiency of someone who had treated wounds in far worse conditions. Elena watched, her body shaking not just from cold but from the crash of adrenaline. For the first time since the headlights appeared at her home, she allowed herself to believe they might survive the night. Rex lay near Daniel, his steady presence oddly comforting. When Daniel stirred, disoriented, Rex nudged his uninjured hand gently, as if reminding him to stay grounded. The dog's quiet loyalty filled the room with something stronger than fear. But the engines were getting closer. Marcus didn't ask for the full story. He didn't need to. The urgency in Elena's voice and the state of Daniel's uniform told him enough. He moved with purpose, turning off lights, guiding them to a reinforced storage space beneath the cabin that he had built for storms and emergencies. He gave Rex a silent command. The dog positioned himself near the entrance, alert and ready. Headlights cut through the rain outside. Doors slammed. Boots splashed in mud. Elena's heart pounded so loudly she was certain it would give them away. Daniel's breathing was shallow but steady now, thanks to Marcus's care. The knock on the door above them was sharp and demanding. Marcus answered it with the calm of a man who had faced far worse than angry men in the dark. He stood tall, rain soaking his shirt, eyes steady. He played the part of a reclusive veteran disturbed by strangers. He let them look inside. He gave them nothing. Rex remained hidden but poised, a silent guardian. After tense minutes that felt like hours, the engines roared again, fading slowly into the distance. Elena didn't realize she was crying until Marcus opened the hidden door and she collapsed against the wall in relief. She had been strong for so long, but strength has limits. Marcus didn't offer empty reassurances. He simply handed her a towel and nodded, as if to say that surviving was enough for now. Over the next 2 days, a fragile alliance formed. Daniel regained consciousness fully, and with Marcus's satellite communication equipment, they contacted a trusted federal agent Daniel had prepared as a last resort. Evidence was transferred. Names were spoken. The machinery of justice began to turn. But the true change happened in quieter moments. Elena watched Marcus with Rex, how a single touch calmed the dog, how the dog's presence softened the hard lines in Marcus's face. She realized that healing did not always come in grand gestures. Sometimes it came in loyalty, in shared silence, in refusing to give up on another living being. Marcus, in turn, saw something in Elena he had almost forgotten existed, unshaken compassion. She had risked everything for someone she could have walked away from. In her courage, he found a reason to step back into the world he had abandoned. When authorities finally arrived, the storm had passed. Sunlight filtered through clean air, washing the trees in silver and green. The men who had hunted Daniel were arrested within days. The town would learn the truth. It would hurt, but it would heal. On the morning Elena and Daniel prepared to leave, Rex stood between them and Marcus, tail wagging slowly. Daniel, still weak but standing on his own, reached down to scratch behind the dog's ears. Elena met Marcus's gaze, gratitude shining in her eyes. They had arrived pursued and desperate. They left protected and hopeful. If this story has touched your heart so far, please take a moment to comment. Hope lives on below. Your words matter more than you know. Marcus stood on the porch long after their car disappeared down the road. Rex leaned against his leg, solid and warm. For the first time in years, Marcus did not feel like a man hiding from his past. He felt like someone who had used it for something good. Elena would return to her work, but with a new understanding that even when systems fail, people can still choose bravery. Daniel would testify, knowing the cost but also the necessity. And Marcus would keep his door unlocked. Not for danger, but for possibility. Because sometimes, in the worst storms, salvation doesn't arrive in the form of sirens or speeches. Sometimes it arrives as a quiet warrior and the dog who never left his side. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that one act of courage can change countless lives, please like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe for more stories that restore faith in humanity. Your support keeps these stories alive. The rain had tried to wash everything away. Instead, it revealed what mattered most: loyalty, courage, and the simple, powerful decision to open a door when someone is running out of hope.